What up, and welcome to the Beneath the Dirt podcast. I'm your host, Rome Bone. Thank you for tuning in. This is episode 57, and let's get right into it. This week, we got The Game. He dropped his album cover for his new album, dropping this Friday, Born to Rap. This dude is fucking wild as hell. This album cover is fucking awesome. He's got just a bunch of pregnant women on the cover. You got girls rolling blunts. You got syrup in the back. He's sitting in the studio just writing his raps or whatever. This album cover is fucking wild. Just like Game in general is a fucking wild dude. He also dropped the track list for his album. Now, I don't really judge albums based on track listings because a track listing is whatever. You can't make any prejudgments based on a track listing, but you can with the features. And there's a couple features on here like Ed Sheeran where I don't really understand that feature. Ed Sheeran's kind of a fucking cornball to me. But you got Travis Barker on here. He's probably going to be doing drums on that track right there. You got Red Cafes on here. Nipsey Hussle on here on the track Welcome Home. Definitely going to be looking forward to that. Nipsey Hussle, super dope. Put out my favorite album last year with Victory Lap. Masha Ambrosius is on this. Love Masha Ambrosius. Anytime I see her on a song, anything like that, gotta hear that. Her voice is so good. Always fucking brings it to a song. Anderson .Paak's on here. Chris Brown, Trey Songz. But like I said, the only feature on here that doesn't make any real sense to me is the Ed Sheeran feature. I think he's kind of a cornball, but it is what it is. And then we got brand new EP from Tech N9ne that dropped this past Friday, Enter Fear Level 1. Now, seems like, I think Enter Fear is the name of his new album, and the way Strange Music is putting out new music from their artists, they're putting out EPs, a couple EPs, and then dropping the full-length album with all those songs that they had previously released. Now, y'all know Tech N9ne put out Nina earlier this year, and that's one of my favorite albums this year, and it's kind of concerning to me that this dude's already working on his next album. But then not at the same time because it seems like he's skipping the collabos portion of his music run this time around, which is good to me because those last few collabos albums that he put out were just really fucking weak, sounded very rushed, not good at all. I hope he's not just rushing back into the studio for this Enter Fear album. I really hope he's going to take his time with it. Just going to have to wait and see. I don't like that he's going to be rushing to put music out. But Tech N9ne dropped Enter Fear Level 1. No release date for a new album, but we got that. And then the big hype, we finally get brand new Krizz Kaliko music. He dropped his EP, Immortal. I don't know if this is a standalone EP or if this is another rollout to an album. I didn't listen to Enter Fear Part 1. I haven't listened to Krizz Kaliko's Immortal EP. You know, when I was listening to the Nina EPs that he was putting out before the album, I wasn't feeling it. And then I listened to the album, loved the album. So I'm waiting. I'm waiting to see if this is going to be a standalone EP from Krizz Kaliko or if it's part of an album rollout before I listen to it. But I'm definitely fucking hyped for new Krizz Kaliko. Been wanting Krizz Kaliko since he dropped Go. And it's been 3 or 4 years since he dropped that shit. About fucking time. You know, it took him to not sign a fucking contract. Caused a whole... To me, it seemed like kind of like a promotional push for Krizz Kaliko, really. Maybe not. Regardless, at least we're getting new Krizz Kaliko music out of this whole thing of him not signing the contract, re-signing it at Red Rocks in Colorado. Go, as you know, is my all-time favorite Strange Music release that they've put out. I still think it's the best release that they've ever put out. Love that album front to back. Just so good from Krizz Kaliko. And then Strange Music dropped fucking 3 EPs this past Friday. They dropped JL, The Devil Hates Sunday, Chapter 1. I feel like this dude just put out an album. I didn't listen to his shit. Not a huge fan of JL. Dude could rap. I feel like he just put out an album. Seems like he got a new one coming out with The Devil Hates Sundays. He released his new EP. The Chapter 1 of The Devil Hates Sundays. Didn't check it out. Probably won't. To be honest with you, not a huge fan of JL. I dig his features sometimes with Tech N9ne and other Strange Music artists. But goddamn, Strange Music is not slowing down. 3 EPs in one day. You know, they did that whole thing last week with Krizz Kaliko to call the Strange Music headquarters to have them release that Immortal EP on Friday, the same day as Tech N9ne. They're making such a big deal out of that. I didn't even know JL was dropping an EP. And then lo and behold, here comes Friday. He drops his EP, The Devil Hates Sundays. And then up next, we got the brand new single from Twiztid and Jimmy Urine of Mindless Self-Indulgence. We get Hungry Like the Wolf. Now, can we get a full album or EP or something from Jamie Madrox produced by Jimmy Urine of Mindless Self-Indulgence? Can we get a full EP of Madrox and Jimmy Urine? That's what I want. This track lived up to the hype. Absolutely lived up to the hype. Love this track. Duran Duran is fucking whack, but they killed this cover. Production from Jimmy Urine on here is spot on. I love MSI. This is the classic MSI shit that I love. His last solo album that he put out, it's called Uringer, that he put out last year, was really fucking good. I want Jamie Madrox, Jimmy Urine to do a fucking project. So dope to see them come together after 20 years, after those shows that they did on the Amazing Juggalo Brothers tour. I love this song. So fucking dope. Really well put together. Is it the best Twiztid song of this year? It's one of my favorite Twiztid songs this year. You know, other standout songs that they put out this year. Clock and W's was really good. Sick Mind was really good. Couple others, can't think off the top of my head. But you can make an argument that this is the best Twiztid song that they put out this year. Absolutely. I love this track. Absolutely delivered. I had high expectations for this one, and it was fully met, delivered, whatever. Love this. Jimmy Urine, like I said in a previous podcast, low-key genius to me. Love MSI, everything from Tight up until his new solo shit that he's been doing after MSI. Love this track. I highly recommend checking this shit out. Jamie Madrox, Jimmy Urine of MSI. Fucking fire. Love that shit. And then we got a new release, pre-order, from Crossworm. He's got his new album coming out, Eat the Week. I posted about it on all my socials last week on details, how to pre-order the album. I wanted to talk about it on last week's podcast, but I forgot to do it. Crossworm is the fucking homie. I've known this dude for at least 10 years. Been listening to his music for about 15. He makes the intro, outro music that you hear for this very podcast. He's got the sampler up on his pre-order page. It's an Indiegogo pre-order. He's got a magazine that'll have dope-ass pictures. I seen him post about it up on his socials. Lyrics to the album, production credits, all that shit. The liner notes. A full magazine that you could pre-order along with the hard copy of the album. You can also get a digital pre-order. He's got a bunch of different options for you to take advantage of, but I highly suggest checking this dude out. Super slept on, mad underrated, industrial kind of hip-hop, kind of in the same vein as Mindless Self-Indulgence. If I'm not mistaken, I believe he does listen to MSI, Jimmy Urine. Really dope, raw, aggressive, in-your-face, underground rap. Love Crossworm. Dude's mad underrated. That's the fucking homie. Go support his project. It'll be dropping early next year. And then this past Friday, we got a brand new album from Slaine of Special Teams and La Coca Nostra. He dropped his brand new album called One Day. This might be his best work yet. A really mature sounding Slaine on here. He's been sober for a little while now. This album is 12 songs long, clocking in at 43 minutes. Really, really solid. Fully produced by Archetype, minus one song, which is, I think, Trick the Trap, produced by Static Selecta. And the production on here from Archetype is just classic boom bap, in-your-face kind of style shit. I talked about the first two tracks earlier when they were released. Redemption, great intro song. I love how rappers are releasing their intro track to their album ahead of time. Great intro, sets the tone for the album. And then you got Still Got My Gun featuring Vinny Paz and Ill Bill with Right Hook on the hook. Love that shit. Like I said, it reminds me of Waging War off La Coca Nostra's last album, To Thine Own Self Be True. Really in-your-face shit. Trick the Trap is a dope song. Broken Toys featuring Apathy and Locksmith. I'm not a huge fan of Apathy. I think he's a great rapper as a feature artist. To me, I love him when he's on other people's shit. And he murders his verse on this Broken Toys track. I love this track. Probably an early favorite of mine. I've only been listening since Friday. Probably listened to it 3 or 4 times through so far. Definitely going to be giving it a lot more plays. Can't Stay the Same. One More Day is another epic-ass track. Love that shit. Do What You Love. Night Will Fall. Like I said, I think this might be Slaine's best work. His, my favorite album previously of his is The World Has No Skies that he dropped back in, I want to say, 07, some shit like that, on Suburban Noise Records. Classic shit from Slaine. Love A World With No Skies. But this new one, One Day, might be his best work yet. Solid production from Archetype. Slaine just sounds super clear-headed, very on point. His emphasis on words, the way he's saying shit, like, dude is just really honed in on this one. Killed it on this album. Really dope shit from Slaine on this new album, One Day. And as I'm thinking about it, I don't know why this just popped in my head, maybe because I'm looking at my Apple Music library right now, but I see the ROC Monsters Ain't Real. And I said last week that I couldn't really give any thoughts on it because I had only listened to it a couple times. I didn't really know how I felt about it. But listening to it, it really just gives you an old school throwback feel for the ROC. I want to say like back in the Oh Hell No days, kind of. This is horrorcore wicked shit. Love it. From Beneath. Super dope track. My favorite song on here probably is The Chase. Love this shit. Just kind of classic throwback ROC for this dude. Love this shit. This EP is really dope. Monsters Ain't Real. If you ain't checked it out from the ROC, I suggest checking it out. I've been bumping it this past week. Had to listen to it a few times for it to grow on me, I guess. Maybe I wasn't in the right headspace, whatever you want to call it, but this EP is fucking dope. Really appreciate this shit from the ROC. Give us that House of Crazies album. Give us a Half-Breed album if you can make it happen. I seen Scraps commenting on my shit on that post that I made about bringing Half-Breed back, possibly. And who knows what's possible for the future, but anything's possible. And another note that I'm thinking of that I wanted to talk about when I was talking about the Twiztid song was the Riders thing. You know, Riders is dropping this Friday or Thanksgiving, you know, the 28th, 29th. I don't really remember, but I know it's dropping this week. We're getting the new project from Riders, which we know is Twiztid, and what I'm assuming is everybody from MNE. Everybody's saying that, or a lot of people are saying that they shouldn't be using the Riders name. Saying that they can't use the Riders name, to me, is basically saying the same thing as, like, they can't use the Twiztid name. They can't use Jamie Madrox or Twiztid. Just because they were on Psychopathic or doing shit with Psychopathic, they can't bring it forward and use that name. Yeah, it was Psychopathic Riders, and now it's just Riders. But why can't they use Lil Shank, Fofo, and Cell Block? I see no problem with it. If they can use Twiztid, Jamie Madrox, if Blaze can use his name, Boondocks, A&B, you know, everybody that was previously on Psychopathic, if they can use that shit, but they can't use it now, or they can use it now, but they can't touch the Riders thing, makes no sense. I understand if you don't want to support the Riders thing, if you don't like it, just for the idea of them taking an idea of a group that they did with ICP and bringing it forward. You know, I could see that. But to me, why not? If the music's good, it's good. If it's not good, then it's not good. You know, I think the first track that they dropped was pretty fucking good. Beat was dope. Not sure if it was an original beat or not. But saying that they can't use the name because they had previously used it on Psychopathic makes no sense. They're able to use Twiztid, Blaze, Boondocks, all that shit. They should be able to use Lil Shank, Fofo, Cell Block. And it ain't Psychopathic Riders, it's Riders. But I guess I digress from the situation. I just wanted to get that out there. Why can't they use the name? I don't see no problem using the name. Especially their rapper names. You know, it is what it is. I got nothing else more. I'm going to keep going in circles if I keep talking about it. Is what it is. But let's get into some more upcoming new releases from Sean Price and Lil Fame. Lil Fame of MOP, dropping December 20th this year. Posthumous album from Sean P. And then we got Lil Fame on here. They're going to be doing this collab album. No idea how many tracks are going to be on this. No track list revealed as of yet. But this album should be perfectly ignorant. Ignorance at its finest. MOP does that ignorant shit so well, as does Sean Price. This is just going to be stick-up kid music, rob a motherfucker music, punch somebody in the nose, break their nose type shit. I fuck with Sean P. I fuck with Lil Fame, MOP all day. Beautiful, ignorant music, like I said, at its finest. But I felt like I should talk about it. Dropping December 20th of this year. Should be a dope little project from them. And then we got some more news from Psychopathic Records rather. And all you Juggalo rappers can rejoice and go record your whack raps in the Lotus Pod. This upcoming week for Record Store Day, not only are they doing the tours that we talked about last week, but they also got studio sessions for the Lotus Pod coming in at $85 an hour, which is a hell of a deal because you listen to anything Psychopathic has recorded in the Lotus Pod, that shit sounds really good. They got straitjacket engineering your tracks. So you could go take your high trash, high quality doo-doo and go get it nicely polished at the Lotus Pod studio. For all you shitty Juggalo rappers, y'all can rejoice. Thanks, Psychopathic Records, for recording your whack music. And then ICP dropped their brand new video for Nobody's Fault. I don't really get this one. It's one of my least favorite tracks on Fearless Fred Fury. I like the song, don't get me wrong. But I would have liked to see a video for West Werner Ave. Night of Red Rum would have been dope. Pretty much any song other than this song, Hothead, Low, I would have liked to see a video for. It's a cool video. It's well done. They're in the carnival. Violent J dressed up, got the whole clown gimmick, the wig, the red nose, all that shit. I don't really have any kind of deep dive into the video other than the fact that I wish they would have picked a different song to do a video for. But is what it is, I guess. Like I said, shot really well. Cool to see another visual from Fearless Fred Fury. I really hope they make a video for West Werner Ave. That shit would be dope. Shoot that shit on West Werner Ave. They could make that video really dope. Would love to see that shit. Solo Shaggy video from a Joker's card. I don't think we've ever seen that. We've seen plenty of solo Violent J songs made into videos that were on Joker's cards. Let's get a Shaggy 2 Dope solo track for a video off of a Joker's card. Would love to see that. And then we got more news on the Guerrilla Voltage front. We haven't heard anything other than the fact that they said that they weren't going to be making music anymore. They split ways. We never really got any explanation for it. And then Mr. Gray took to the Guerrilla Voltage Facebook page and he wrote, after that other dude bailed to go mainstream, I'm back to where I began and on the path I should have stayed on. If you haven't already, go and like my solo page for updates on my new releases coming soon. Mr. Gray. This dude's taking shots at Clockwork. Seems kind of petty, if you ask me. Clockwork hasn't said anything about the split of Guerrilla Voltage. I fucked with these dudes. Gods and Claws, one of the best albums to drop in the underground or in just general for me this year. Love that shit. But Mr. Gray posting saying Clockwork bailed to go mainstream or some shit. And then later on in the day, from the same Guerrilla Voltage Facebook account, Clockwork responded. He writes, I would like to clear the air once and for all by speaking the truth on this Guerrilla Voltage situation. Some months back, Gray expressed to me that he was no longer interested in touring, which I completely understood and respected. At the time, I was still invested growing in the Guerrilla Voltage brand and going at it full force, but never held resentment for his decision. Upon hearing this, I took time to mull it over and to express to Gray that I wanted to move forward with projects that to have the opportunity to reach their full potential. This was a healthy and amicable conversation that ended with no bad blood. That's where and how it ended, but that's it. I'm still very grateful for the time we're able to rock together and appreciate and love, support everyone, everything past, present, and future moving forward. Clockwork. This dude kind of takes the high road after he kind of got a little jab from Mr. Gray, saying it was Mr. Gray that didn't want to continue with the Guerrilla Voltage thing. He didn't want to tour, which kind of makes sense to me. These dudes barely went on tour as it was. I think they hit 2 tours. I did get to see them twice, actually. Both times, I believe they toured with Twiztid. So I'm glad I got to see them live. These dudes dope in my opinion. It's shitty to see them stop working. I'll check out their future solo shit. But it definitely seems like these dudes are not on the same page and it didn't end on good terms. Clockwork's trying to take the high road, saying that it did. But then you got Mr. Gray saying that Clockwork tried to go solo, mainstream. I don't know how he's trying to go mainstream. You know, he's only put out one song since the split, or maybe even before the split was announced. And that song was actually pretty dope. Tin Man, I suggest checking that out. But this is what it's looking like for Gorilla Voltage. Doesn't look like they're on good terms. Mr. Petty. Yeah, I guess we can call him Mr. Petty. But Mr. Gray went the petty route. Clockwork trying to take the high road, if you ask me. It's funny that they're both responding to like each other on the Gorilla Voltage Facebook page. Like, what the fuck? Because probably their solo pages don't have the reach that the Gorilla Voltage page does. Is what it is, I guess. And then one last release I want to talk about. I never really talk about Buckshot on here. I'm not a big fan of Buckshot. But you can't deny this fucking dude's grind. This dude grinds like a motherfucker with Underground Avengers, his solo shit. This dude's dropping a box set this Friday for Black Friday, the Helter Skelter Legacy. I don't really know anything about this other than I believe there's 5 parts to this. He's putting out a box set for it this Friday. This dude's steady dropping new music in the studio. Got to give him his props on his grind. Although I might not be a fan, can't deny the hustle. Respect to Buckshot for that. We've already got 2 Underground Avengers projects in the last year and a half. He's dropped, I believe, a new solo album. He's got this box set dropping. All this merch that he's dropping. You know, the weirdos, as he calls his fans, are out there. I see them online. I see a lot of those weirdo face logos, you know, the mob style music logo, I guess, with the smiley face, the kind of sinister smiley face. But I wanted to shed some light on some Buckshot dropping his box set this Friday for Black Friday. As y'all know, Black Friday, it's going to fuck down. This Friday, the 29th, I'm going to be doing my record store day shopping. The hype is real. We're just 4 days away. I'm going to be getting all my vinyl. I'm going to be digging for some CDs while I'm doing my Black Friday record store day shopping. And then this Friday at some point, I don't have a specific time on when I'll be going live, but I will be going live for a special collection video drop of all the pickups that I've picked up for Black Friday. I'll even show some of the new CDs that I've picked up in the last month. Hasn't been many after that last pickup I did of all those 3-6 Mafia projects, LP, Gravediggers, Flatliners, that whole last new pickups video that I did. I kind of slowed down buying CDs in anticipation for this Black Friday drop happening this Friday. So this Friday, again, I will be going live. No set time. Tune into my socials. I'll figure out a time probably during that day, drop the graphic for it, schedule the live stream, and I'll show off all my pickups from that day because I didn't do a collection video this past Friday. I'm thinking I'm going to be kind of spreading the collection videos out a little bit more to make it last longer because since I'm doing it by artists now, it's going to go a lot quicker. And that's pretty much going to wrap it up for me this week. So stay tuned Friday to all my socials for the graphic, image, and time for when I'm going to be doing my newest pickups video. And that's going to wrap it up. Until next time, I'm out. Peace.